Hello everyone, this is Artemistic Kate. Thanks for joining me for another video in my Prima Marketing Watercolor Confections and Watercolor Coloring Book review series. I'm really excited about doing the next painting. So I know it's been a little bit since my last one came out, but here we are with another video. So to start, I'll go over this again. I'm using the Prima Marketing Watercolor Confections Tropicals paint set. It says Artist Quality Watercolor Pan Set. And for those of you who haven't watched my previous videos or seen much about the paint sets, I'll just go ahead and show you guys again, or you can watch some of my previous videos as well. It's in this great little tin. I love the little tin that it comes in, and it's kind of a mess. I'm kind of messy with how I keep my pan set, but these are the colors that it comes with. This is the card that came in it to do the swatches on, and it's kind of a card stock. This is on actual watercolor paper, so you can tell a little bit of difference in the colors between the papers, but they're pretty similar across there. And it comes with these two nice mixing wells and these 4 little wells down here as well, and all 12 paints in the set. So we'll go over those some more as we go through our painting today. So this is the Watercolor Coloring Book, and it is just absolutely full of really awesome paintings or pages ready to be painted. So if you're just starting out, this is a great resource to get you practicing and learning how your watercolor paints work. And also, if you've been painting for a long time, it's just really fun to do and relaxing, kind of like adult coloring books, but it's actually with your watercolor paints on watercolor paper. So the next page that we're doing out of the book is a really simple one. It says, "Do what you love," and it's just got these few hearts on it there. So that's going to be a simple painting to do, so I thought we'd do it in real time, but I'm going to do an interesting technique. So for those of you who haven't been doing very much watercolor painting yet, I'm going to show you how to use regular old salt. I'm using today coarse kosher salt. How to use that to create a really interesting texture in your painting. So what we're going to do first is do a basic color wash over the whole background, and then I'll sprinkle the salt on it, and you can see what that ends up doing once it's dry. So here we go. I'm going to just jump right into it, and I'm going to get the whole page wet. And I don't want to take too long, because by the time you get the other side damp, if you're slow about it, the beginning of it will already be drying, and the paints won't flow quite the same across. So I'm going to just get the whole thing nice and wet here. Just kind of quickly brush on. Now I'm going to do kind of a light rose background, so I'm choosing the more pink tone out of my reds, and I'm just going to use that for this background wash. And I'm just going to kind of put it across the whole way. I could use more water here, so I'm going to use that to kind of spread this around. Now I'm doing it in kind of a loose brush stroke here, because I want it to have some texture to the to the paint on the background, and not just like stripes. I'm gonna just kind of work that in like that, and kind of just move it around is really all that I'm doing. So now that that's nice and wet, I should have done this beforehand. I like to take this coarse salt, kosher salt, and I'll put it into using a mortar and pestle on that. So I'm just going to kind of smash up that salt in there pretty quickly, pretty easily. And try to just kind of break down those larger bits into sort of smashed flakes. And then all I'm going to do is just sprinkle it everywhere across the page. And you can see it almost instantly start to take on a pink appearance. What that is it's like soaking up the paint into the salt. So this is going to create some really interesting texture to our color wash background. So for a few minutes, while that salt is starting to absorb, I just wanted to say one more thing about these paints before I switch it off, or what we're going to do next. I'm going to go ahead and come in with this darker red, which I love the richness, the deepness of that red, and I'll do the lettering and the hearts with that, and then we may come up with some other little design to put on there as well, maybe just a border or something like that. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording and let this salt do its magic until the page is dry, and then I'll come back and show you what happens next. Okay, I am back. I went ahead and let this dry, and I know it's hard to tell from higher up here. What I'm going to do first is go ahead and get rid of all of the salt that is on my page. And so what I did is I just folded a piece of watercolor paper that is kind of what I had used for mixing colors on, or testing colors out on. It doesn't really matter, I just grabbed what was at hand. And I'm going to start just kind of gently working that salt up and off of my page. And I'm just going to push it to the center for the moment. And as I do that, I don't know if you can see it from up above there, there's a delightful texture that's left behind on this. So I'm just going to pick this up for a moment and I'll put it right back, but I need to get that salt off of the page here. So I'm just wiping it off into a little dish that I'll finish cleaning up here in a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and hold this up here, make sure that you can see it, the texture that the salt left behind. You can see it almost looks like little snowflakes across the page here, and it just adds a really lovely sort of texture, just something different. So you can use that in all kinds of applications. Hopefully you can see real well here how it gave kind of a speckled appearance across the entire page. So you just want to make sure you get all that salt off of there. And I'll just set that back there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go ahead and work on this lettering. And I'm just going to use my number 10 round brush. Actually, you know what? Instead of my number 10, I think I'll use my 8. It's a little bit smaller, but not too small. So I'm just going to be getting into this nice rich red, and I want a nice rich amount of paint on my brush. I don't want it too thin because I want it to be bold on the lettering. So I'm just going to go ahead and start filling that in, and while I fill it in, I would also love to talk about the message of the day. Do what you love. So that brings some things to mind for me. The last painting that I did said, do all things with love. And boy, that's a beautiful message to keep in your heart and as you go about your life and your day-to-day journey. But this one is also really just as important. Do what you love. And do that with love in your heart. And that is just a powerful combination right there. So doing what you love, it means opening your heart up to yourself and to your needs and to the things that matter the most in life. If it's spending time with your family, if it's doing a creative pursuit of some kind, even if it's reading a book, whatever it might be that you love doing, just do it. You know, that's kind of been my motto lately. Just do it, because I can end up feeling kind of frozen with all of my health problems that I have. I get trapped in it, and I end up getting to where I feel like I just can't do anything, and nothing I'm doing is right. And you know, between my physical health and my mental health, I can get really sucked in to all of that. And I know that there are a lot of other people who are the same way and can end up feeling the same way, just kind of trapped in their illness or their stress in life, their difficulties, any of that. I do it. So, and I end up getting to where I don't do anything that I love. I just kind of exist from day to day. Well, I'm trying to change that, and I'm trying to just do it. And yeah, it sounds like that old Nike ad. I don't know if that's still their motto. Probably, right? It's a good one. Just do it. Instead of talking about it or thinking about it or feeling sad about not doing it. You know, I had a really good talk with my counselor the other day, honestly, you know, where we talked about that, how much I miss doing things that I want to be doing in life. And she said, well, why don't you do them? And I gave her all my reasons. I'm just too tired, I hurt too much, I feel too sick, you know, all of my reasons. And she said, well, if you're not doing it and you're miserable and you're feeling horrible and all this sick and the pain and, you know, the mental struggles that you're going through, if you're not doing the things that you're wanting to be doing and you're feeling disappointed with your life and you're feeling just too full of your sickness, why don't you try just doing it and just do it? And then at the end of the day, guess what? You're gonna hurt, you're gonna feel sick, you're gonna be tired, you're gonna have all those same things maybe, but you'll also have the pride in yourself. Now, some of this is coming from myself and my own insight and not just words from a counselor. It's something that we came to together, and it's something that's been on my heart for a long time. I want to be proud of myself, and I want at the end of the day to look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what? I did everything I could today to try to make it a good day, to try to do something productive, so I'm not just focused on how sick I feel. To just have that courage. That's what it really is. That's what it really comes down to being, is courage. Courage in your own heart and soul to do the things that you want to be doing. To not let your illness define you. That's what I want. I don't want my illness to define me, and I want to be free, and I want to be full of courage, and I want to do what I love. And what I love is painting or being creative in some way, making things. I'm always wanting to make things, but I can get sucked into the depression and the illness, and I don't do anything, you know. And I'm doing it. Here I am. I'm doing what I love. And then also exercise. I get really sucked into that thing of I hurt too much. I can't do it. I just don't have the energy. I'm just wiped out, and then I feel really bad about myself that I'm not exercising and I'm in such bad shape. Well, you know what? I'm just doing it, and no matter how sick or awful I feel, I'm just doing it. You know, I can be running a fever, my illness that I have, my autoimmune disease. I can run a fever every day and feel sick and have all kinds of different symptoms with that. I can feel that every single day, and I do. And it's really hard to wake up to that every day. But what I can also do is still exercise and push myself anyway, because at the end of the day, I'm just going to hurt anyway from my illness. But would I rather go to bed hurting and sad and disappointed in myself? Or would I rather go to bed feeling proud of myself and knowing that I pushed myself to the limit and beyond, and that I used my determination to do what I love and to be loving to myself and to do all things with love, and that includes taking care of myself better. To not let the illness control me and allow me to not take good care of myself, which is what I let it do way too often. And I know that I'm not alone in any of this journey or battle. I know there are so many of us out there that are dealing with these real similar sort of symptoms and situations, and trying to learn how to deal with all of it. You know, and that's one of the hardest things, learning how do I deal with all of this stuff. You know, it is possible, and we are doing it day by day by day. And some days we're not so great at it. Other days we can feel like we're on fire doing what we need to do. Well, for me, it's about trying to learn how to have that balance, a healthy balance between the two, and to just do my best to do what I love, and to do it with love in my heart for myself and everyone else that I know. So here we go. I filled that out, all the lettering, and I feel like it is missing something around the edge, and part of me wants to just do more of that red around the border, but I think what would be really interesting is to do this nice rich purple, and that'll give us a nice dark background around the sides. And I'm just going to use my round brush that I already have, and I'm just going to kind of do it real loose. I don't care if it's just kind of messy, and just kind of fill that in with a bit of a border. And I'm going to get that around all sides, and I want it to look hand done. I want it to look, I mean, it's going to look a little bit messy, but that's the style of like the lettering and all of that. I just want it to be loose, a nice loose border. So I'm just going to take that all the way around here, and I'm kind of intentionally trying to wiggle my brush a bit, and I'm going to keep going around and around a bit. I'm going to move that slightly. It's kind of hard to get it at this angle because I've got a desk full of art stuff. I'll just say that, art stuff. I've got everything from stuff for painting to coloring with colored pencils and drawing and sewing. I've got all kinds of sewing things around because I've got some projects going on with that. I've got different paint palettes. I've got quilt blocks that I've done. I'm not very organized on my art table, I will tell you that. So that's just part of me. It's disorganized organization. I know where things are, it's just maybe no one else does, but that's okay. It's my art space. I'm gonna go for one more across the bottom here. And just kind of a nice loose border. I might try to just soften this up just a little bit. Well, and then I did what I didn't want to do. I don't want real hard edges on it. So, alright, there it is. Do what you love. I'm going to pull it up so you can see the texturing here on it again. You can see how it has the texture from the salt. And you know what? Why don't I go ahead and remove the masking tape while you're here with me so you can see how that made a nice edge with the purple. I'm happy we did the purple on that. I think that's kind of a nice fun brightness on there. To add the darkness, it brightened it up. So I like that about it. I'm just kind of gently pulling this off because I don't want to tear my paper. I did get a really cool trick that I found out about from the Frugal Crafter, Lindsay Wyrick. She has an awesome YouTube channel. I love watching her videos. Anyway, she had, I think it was 15 amazing tips and tricks for watercolor or something like that. I don't remember what the video was called, but there was a trick in it for with masking tape. If you're using cheaper masking tape, which I always try to get the lowest cost one I can get, one problem that it has is it tears paper really easily. So you could put it down and then you take it off and then it starts tearing your paper. And you can see, once I get this off here, well, now I'm having issues just getting it off the edge here because it was tucked under. Let me do this. So you can see on this board how this is all torn off. That was from using my masking tape, and it was doing that to my paper too. So I was like, oh no, I just got the wrong tape. Well, she had this this tip to actually put your masking tape onto fabric, which I'll just grab this little bag. This is my little travel bag for when I want to go painting out in nature. I use this great little bag. But what you do is you take your masking tape and you put it down onto fabric of some kind, and you just put it on there and then peel it right off. Now it's got a very fine layer of essentially lint on it. It keeps it from sticking to the paper quite so firmly, and it's really easy to peel up and off. So sometimes as I'm taping it on, I just like stick tape onto my clothes and pull it off and put it on there. And since I've been doing that, it has worked perfectly every time. So thank you, Lindsay, for that. So here we go. Here it is, all finished. Do what you love. And I hope you all will do that, and I will continue trying to do that as well. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I just wish you so many blessings and wonderful time painting or doing whatever it is that you love. I'll see you next time.